Hey everybody! Welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac. Afterbirth, pull us. You plus me. It doesn't equal us. Guess I didn't know my calculus. That's a song by Together, a parody boy band from the mid-2000s. Mostly, it provided me with an opportunity to figure out which character we're going to play as here. I think that we should do a Judas run. And we should do Judas negative, which is going to be like, I don't know, dude. I gotta remember. 1 HKP, J2ro. Feel like, you ever get the idea that there's like a punchline somewhere in that string? I just can't figure it out for myself. J2ro. Ooh, Dark Bomb is like a million out of 10 here to start with. All we need is 1.5 red hearts, and we could be off to the races. Not getting anything there is a little bit of a bummer, but life goes on. So the last run, I've got to worry a little bit about highway blindness, because the last run was like so good. It was Greed, Samson, quad shot plus something ridiculous, like 19 damage or something like that right off the bat. We could die right here. That was very scary. I was worried because I didn't actually know if I had the power to, or the speed rather, to dodge that guy over and over, but ended up getting lucky. Come on. Give me a Spirit Heart directly, or give me half a Red Heart and I'll pick it up myself. Alright. We're gonna moon it up. Buttercup baby, just to let you down. And the reason behind that was I was hoping we'd get something that actually provided us with a little bit of value right off the bat. But like, yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, okay. I don't want to play the slot machine yet. It's possible we can get a red heart. It's also possible we could get, you know, a bomb. It's possible we can get a lot of things. You know, there's myriad options there, I suppose. But I want to, for now, not spend our money, because we could get an arcade in the next floor. We could get a key and want to go to our shop on this floor and possibly buy a red heart as a result of that. These enemies don't seem that bad yet. I acquiesce myself because I think I was incorrect. Take it. I trust you. Now just give me a half red heart and let me cruise away to victory here. Sure, we won't have Book of Belial to fight the boss. I'm putting all my hopes and dreams on you. Thank you. We won't have Book of Belial to fight the boss, but I think that's okay. I would rather have had it for that room, which I think is a little bit more complicated. We got pretty lucky here, though, I think. Larry Jr., please? Little Horn, not too bad. Basic version of Little Horn. I mean, we got 4.72 damage right off the bat. That's pretty solid. All he needs to do is hit himself, like, 2 times with the bomb, and then we don't really have to do very much work at all. In fact, he's already quite nearly dead. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, that was a close one. Not this one. No chance. This one, maybe. Let's go. Magic 8-Ball, kind of garbage, but it does come with a world card, which is not as relevant as the moon, I think. Alright, so we're in... Basically, Dark Bomb has saved this run. And I'm a little sad that it had to save it as early as it did, but I'm happy that we got the item that is going to potentially enable our victory here. You gotta look at these. We actually healed a little bit on taking 9 lives, the item that we've been looking for, like, endlessly, but can't seem to find in most situations. But, dude, 9 lives now is incredible. This has every ability, I would say, at this point to be a successful Judas run. We've got 2 really, really good defensive items. 9 lives actually is not just good defensively, but awesome as a utility item for trading into deals with the devil without really it being too destructive. But Tractor Beam is completely okay here. Mostly for the tiers upgrade, but, you know, there's potential fringe benefits here as well. Either way, we're off to the races. I always love when a Judas run, you know, comes together. It's one of those lines you always hear at the end of a movie. I love it when a plan comes together. I'm beginning to think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Roll credits. I wanna run something by you. My wife is in Japan right now, attending the game show in Tokyo. Not a Japanese game show, it's a game convention. Anyway, the point is, that's irrelevant. Would it be weird... No. Would it be weird if I went and saw the horror movie It by myself? I'm gonna run something by you. When I was younger, Sometimes, one of my things I would do in college, wake up early-ish on like a Saturday or a Sunday, go see a movie my friends don't want to see by myself, you know? So like Friday night, I'll hanging out with my friends, I'll be like, hey, you guys want to go see District 9 tomorrow? It just opened. I think it could revolutionize the sci-fi genre and, you know, signal the heralding of one of the young talents of the film industry. They say, no, that's stupid. So okay, I wake up at 11 a.m., go down, watch the matinee by myself. Hey, you guys want to watch the follow-up to Borat? I'm sure it's going to be just as good, if not better. No, that's stupid. That time they were probably right. Bruno, not necessarily a 10 out of 10, but I had a fun time seeing that in the theaters by myself nonetheless. However, like, I don't get bothered by eating alone in a restaurant or being alone at a movie theater, but something about watching a horror movie alone is weird. Like, I've become Jason Voorhees if I go watch a horror movie by myself. People are going to be like, who's that guy with? Nobody. He's not with anybody. He's just enjoying a film. I know you guys are probably watching this and, you know, people ask you things like this all the time in the same vein. And you go, sweetie, just do whatever you want. Have confidence. It's not really where I'm coming at this from. I mean, I'm not, you know, I'll go out and do it if I feel like I want to do it. But is it stranger? This is I'm trying to get to the core of the human issue here. Is it stranger to watch a horror movie in theaters by yourself than it is to watch a comedy or an action film, for example? Because, you know, usually Kate and I, we're late on the superhero train, but we go, we don't really care about Joker just yet, I guess, but we're late on the superhero train, but you know, I'm a fan of the Marvel films in particular, so we'll go, you know, we saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2 like 6 weeks after it came out. There were a couple people in the theater that were just sitting by themselves, and I was like, you know what? Not at all weird. Totally normal. But if we went and saw, like, I'm trying to think, what would be, like, the weirdest movie to see by yourself? I guess the weirdest movie to see by yourself would be if an adult went to see, like, a middle-aged adult male saw a bad coming-of-age film directed at young girls. That would definitely be the creepiest one, right? Like, if someone was in the theater watching WALL-E by themselves, you would be like, it's a work of art. Of course they can go see WALL-E. But if your uncle went to the multiplex by himself and watched Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants 2, you'd be like, Uncle Jerry, what are you doing? It sends a weird message. I just really like Amber Tamblyn. That's what's weird about it, Jerry. That's the weird part. See, I knew there was some meat in there. There's some kind of social strangeness to get to. So we just won this run. So you better hope the commentary's on point. Otherwise, this is a waste of our time. Might as well just call the episode here. Which is probably a cardinal sin of entertainment. Just turn off your televisions. But I'm using reverse psychology. I can already tell this is going to be a true banger. And you know what? Fantastic. You know what? It's been a while since we actually completed a guppy transformation, so I'm like very for it. And you know what? I'm gonna take all the I Found pills. Why not, dude? It's like we're taking fish oil. Every anti-inflammatory regimen. I'll just take 18 fish oil pills a day. When you burp, it's gonna smell like cat food for the rest of your life. To a hearts. Not relevant? Chariot. So, we actually should take a moment here. Because... Ooh, excuse me, sir. We should take a moment, because we have not done Hush. So, this is actually, like, a very, very good run for us to... Ooh, a very, very good run for us to do Hush. We're already very strong. We got 7 damage without using Book of Belial, which obviously we've thrown away. Hierophant Chariot. It's fine. If anything, Sackboy's kind of slowing us down here, but, you know, I'm not really in the business of complaining. So, we might be able to get Hush. We should be able to get Hush, would be a better way to describe that. I don't think much can stop us. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. The line is always weird to me. You know, it's gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. Why, if the number is irrelevant, why specifically 100? Why not, like, there's nothing anyone at all could ever do? I guess it sends the message, that even a crowd could not stop him. But I'm gonna be honest. I think 100 men can stop you from doing pretty much anything if they put their mind to it. You know, the Supreme Court is like 9 people. So imagine like 11 Supreme Courts. They could overpower you physically even if you were the world's strongest man. Which I don't believe that the lead singer of Toto is. But it all comes back to this great Flight of the Conchords line in the TV show, not in the song. You know, Brett writes a song about his prospective girlfriend, and he says, you know, I'd climb the highest mountain for her. And then Jermaine goes, well, would you really climb the highest mountain for her? And he goes, no, it's a metaphor. And Jermaine says, a metaphor for what? And Brett says, for that I'd do anything for her. And then Jermaine says, well, would you climb the highest mountain for her? And he says, I see your point. I always thought that bit was extremely good, which is why I've regaled it to you in such a monotone sort of demeanor so that you could appreciate it for yourself. Well, this was a bit of a whiff here. I might have wanted to reroll God's Flesh, but it doesn't matter, I think. We could save Dice Shard and maybe use it to reroll Boss Rush, for example, and get something dynamite out of that. We also have the potential to save a lot of money right now, which we can actually use on our, Hush journey here. Maybe reroll all the items in Boss Rush, reroll all the items in the shop, reroll a double item room when we go down to the Blue Womb. You know, the world's our oyster. However, we do have another thing potentially on the table that I didn't really talk about, but we could theoretically maybe knock out Mega Satan as well. No, wait, I was underthinking it. I was like, we could just go to the self-sacrifice room if we get enough HP and then get teleported down, but that doesn't give us the Mega Satan fight. If we want the Mega Satan fight, we're going to need Dad's Key, and I don't know if we've actually unlocked that. Or we could get whatever the item is, and I think it's called Duality. It's been a while since we've had it. I don't even know if we've unlocked it. That gives us Angel and Devil deals, and then walk into the Angel deal instead and hope that that works out for the best. So I'm not going to min-max too much with this. I'm just going to pop 2 of diamonds for the spare 18 cents. I think the only reason we became Guppy was because of that Joker card. So, you know, we got to give some credit where credit is due there. But this is some of the fastest that a run has popped off recently. Host Hat, pretty good item. Immunity to explosions, not likely to be super relevant, but if I'm being honest, when I look at this run right now, I'm thinking speed is, I mean, more damage is always lovely, but speed is probably like our #1 concern here. Temporarily, at least. If we can get to like 1.2 speed, no longer am I concerned. The fact that we can fly, it's almost worth like, you know, 0.2 speed in and of itself, but just a little slow when it comes to dodging. Like to have a little bit more quickness off the line. I mean, it's definitely not worth paying 3 cents for 3 flies right now. You know, it's like I want to be driving like a sports car, but instead I'm driving a 2015 Ford Focus. And don't get me wrong, I like the Ford Focus, you know? We drive one. It's thus far been a reliable automobile. Why not? Okay, we got what we paid for it. Lots of flies out of it as well. Let's see what we got in here, though. Oh, that felt like it was going to freeze the game. So we'll take Little Delirium. We'll go down to 0 HP because we can. And then we'll grab this. And we want to make sure that we take the negative. That's coming up pretty soon. But, you know, there's times I end up at a stoplight. We live in Vancouver, BC. There's a lot of really, really nice cars here. Because, you know, when your neighbor owns a Mercedes, well, you got to go get a Porsche. And now that you own a Porsche, he's going to lease, you know, a Maserati. And now that you're leasing the Maserati, he's got to, you know, drive a McLaren F1 GTR. You get the idea. You know, there's a lot of keeping up with the Joneses here. So, you know, you're at a traffic light. You're next to, you know, a fancy sports car or something like that. Put the pedal to the metal. The Focus is like... The other cars are like... Right off the bat, like... We drove behind... I think it was a Ferrari. I don't know what kind, but... we were driving behind a Ferrari downtown. It was going 30 kilometers an hour. I'm not insulting the Ferrari, which I assume, considering that they're like, you know... over $100,000 each for regardless of what model it is. I'm assuming that they're a well-made machine, but We were going like 30 kilometers an hour, you know, like 20 miles an hour, basically. Like 23. The whole time it was going, like it's loud and like rumbling in my chest. And I was like, I didn't pay for that experience. It's like I'm stealing it. I feel like I owe him money for experiencing the true power of what an automobile can be. I don't know if he had like an aftermarket, what's the opposite of a muffler? He had like a boom muffler on it. I can't speak to that because I'm just honestly pretty ignorant about cars in general. Which I think is going to vindicate me at one point. It's been a while, you know, in high school. And I'm not suggesting that liking cars is uncool at all. I think it's super cool. I just have never found myself in that camp because I'm, like, not handy at all. So I'll just pay someone $30 to change my oil. What, like a sucker. But anyway, you know, in high school, there's always, like, kids with their lifted trucks and stuff like that. They'd be like, check it out. Put a NOS canister on my Ford F-150. That never happened to the best of my knowledge, but had a lot of people in my high school that had those cars that were so low to the ground that you had to take like a 45-degree angle on every speed bump, because if you hit it too like perpendicular, you could possibly like scrape your muffler on the ground or something, right? Once self-driving cars become a thing, and a lot of people, I think, by the way, are way too, I might be an idiot on this, but I think a lot of people are way too optimistic about when that's going to happen. I think if you ask the average person on the internet when self-driving cars are going to be the norm, they're like, January. And I'm like, I'm thinking like 2030, 2035. They're big purchases, you know, you gotta test them, like, extremely rigorously, because people are going to be putting their lives and their families' lives in their hands. I can't just roll it out and be like, 2021, it's illegal to drive unless you have a self-driving car, right? But once they become the norm, and hopefully, you know, sooner rather than later, and it also works, I wonder if people are going to revise their opinions about cars. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, so this is very important. We don't need that item, but I'm saving Dice Shard because I might want to do Boss Rush. Make sure you take the negative here. Extremely important. Make sure you take the negative. Anyway. So big. Driving? Oh, you mean that thing my computer does for me? Man, you ain't even felt power until you felt 600 horsepower of American steel under your foot. Yeah, whatever, Grandpa. I just let Watson drive for me. I'm doing my taxes in the back of the car, right? Because in the future, doing taxes is going to be like a really cool thing. Definitely. Heck, it's really cool already. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch. And definitely I'm out of touch. I'm out of touch with both generations. You know, both of the two generations on planet Earth. Because I'm like, I'm not handy. You know, I'm definitely not part of like my parents' and grandparents' generation, in the sense that, like, you know, if my pipes broke in my house, I'd be like, I'm not paying a plumber. I'm just gonna pay the plumber. I don't trust myself. I'll go on YouTube and figure out how to fix it. It's probably a productive attitude, but I'm scared of, you know, what I could do to our internal system. Probably void the rental agreement with my landlord as well. So, I mean, it might be a savvy decision not to do that. But I don't know if I'm part of the upcoming generation either, like generation of people that are younger than myself, because I don't understand what rappers are saying anymore. And I feel like when I listen to modern day hip hop, and this is not me being a naysayer at all. When I listen to modern day hip hop, I feel like it's incredibly progressive. Like, I'm like, this is some weird, like, Lou Reed Metal Machine music stuff. And then I look at it and it's like, oh, it went to #1 in 18 countries. It's actually like listening, it's like going to an art gallery for me. Like, I sort of lack the ability to judge it appropriately. And I think that's kind of cool. But I'm also like, it's a sign of the times for being out of touch, I think. Can't we just go back to the Illmatic era? Should have taken that. Is there anything worth taking in here? No. Well, I mean, Halo of Flies is pretty good, but apart from that, we're going to Dice Shard, look for something better. these are all pretty bad. I will never go to bat to defend Broken Modem. I think Broken Modem is, like, way more trouble than it's worth. Anyway, we're on Utero 1 here. So I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm unstuck in time. I feel unique and that's good, but then also, I don't know, dude. Sometimes I wouldn't say I worry, but I'm like, I'm a weird-ish dude, I think. Or at least, I'm eccentric isn't even the right word I'm looking for. What's the word I'm looking for? Idiosyncratic might be the word that I would use. Like, I think I got a unique perspective on issues to begin with. And I've always sort of been that way. Like, I told the story, but this is not the only story, but it's emblematic, I think. You know, when I was a kid, my parents put me in tennis lessons to be part of the aristocracy. But, you know, the tennis teacher, who was a great tennis player, at least by our local standards, was teaching us, hey, here's how you grip it for forehand, here's how you grip it for backhand. And I just said internally to myself, I don't need to know the backhand part. What's the point? Forehand's better. Why don't I just use my less strong hand to do it? You know, that was always the approach that I took, is like, you know, I'm gonna do things my own unique way. I think I come by it honestly. Real talk, I got kicked out of Kinder Gym or Gymboree. I forget which proprietary physical education after school program it was. But when I was 3 years old, I got kicked out of Kinder Gym because I just wasn't doing what the teachers were telling me. Despite being a cog in the corporate machine in today's day and age, you know, they'd be like, hey, do the bicycle kicks. I do the bicycle kicks. And then they'd be like, okay, now, like, do the stretches. And I'm like, I don't want to do the stretches. I just want to do bicycle kicks. Why not, right? Anyway, the point is, I'm just saying this to illustrate, not holds up spork, you know, I am to Penguin of Dune. Of Dune? I am to Penguin of Doom. So random. D-A-E-L-A, X-D-X-D, etc., etc. However, like, I'm idiosyncratic to begin with, and I got a weird job. I almost worry if I'm, like, socially isolating myself beyond the point of recovery sometimes. Like, I think I'm still okay. When I go out in public and I speak to normal people, I can communicate with them effectively. I can, you know, get across what I want, what I believe that they can offer me in the situation. Hey, can I get the shoyu ramen and a green tea, please? Look at that. Easy enough, right? But I don't know. I worry that you can get out of touch after like 10 years of doing this job. It's something that's hard for people to relate to because it's still relatively rare and weird as heck. And by the way, when I say I worry, I'm not... literally, the thought just occurred to me. So let's not act as if it's an enormous problem. We gotta check. This run is going so well, by the way. In fact, in keeping with the tradition of recent runs, it seems like it's gonna be over, like, super fast, which... I don't really, you know... I like when an Isaac video ends up being, like, 28 to 40 minutes long. That's my ideal. And I think we're probably gonna be in there, but... anything less than that, and I'm like... feels like I wasn't really able to sink my teeth into the meat of the run. Like, I'm missing part of the conversational aspect. Any longer than that, my brain cannot hold it together. I'll be, like... it's almost like every minute my, you know, internal temperature goes up by, like, 0.2 of a degree Fahrenheit. So I'm, like, downright feverish by the end of a video. Which is what people want to see most of the time. And I can understand that. A good train wreck run every now and then is fine. Where it gets really bad is when you're like, well, you know, I've got 45 minutes, maybe I'll knock out an Isaac episode, and then it becomes a train wreck run. And you're like, it's 11:40 p.m. I just want to hug my cats, but I can't because I've got 1.8 damage, and yet somehow also my rate of fire is 8. How does that even happen? Anyway, it looks like we're building a lot of momentum here. It makes me a very happy camper. This is very important. Do not forget to pick up... well, no, we already have the negative. Sorry. Do not forget to go probably to the Hush fight. But then after that, you want to make sure that you're going to shoal. Because if you go to the cathedral, you're going to end up feeling real silly when this episode ends. For now, though, it has been a while since we fought Hush. Tractor Beam, I think, is a pretty okay Hush item. Not that he's hard to hit to begin with, I suppose, but... should take us back to full HP or close to it. Be nice to generate a lot of spiders. Don't pick that up yet. Be nice to generate a lot of flies, I should say, before we get going. 2 of diamonds is a lovely choice here. What do you got there? High Priestess, not really necessary. The Sun, not even good, except in a mapping context. So let's pop the Gauze. And then that should purge Curse of the Blind. We use the Sun as a map on the next floor. We actually... we don't have permanent Polaroid invincibility. We should look for a black market. That would change things. Like Guppies, neither of these items are going to be relevant. I think we just have to accept that that's the most likely outcome, is that none of those items are going to be worth... and none of these items are going to be worth anything either, but... if we find a black market... no. If we find a black market, we could at least get the HP to be worth something. If we can get a Joker card, we can get the HP to be worth something. This is, it might be too little too late for restock now that I think about it. This is the Emperor. I think you just keep the Emperor card and forget the Sun card now. Don't ever shoot at me, please. What about Dim Bulb? How much does Dim Bulb hook us up here? Quite a lot, actually. Okay, I'll go with that. We don't need 2 of diamonds. It doesn't benefit us. We might as well become Turbo Guppy. And then, this should be fine. It's quite a potent damage upgrade right off the bat. Do we have, is Buddy in a Box giving us holy light shots? In that case, holy shot, that's good. Please don't demonetize my video. It was a pun. You know what? Puns are a more demonetizable offense in my mind than swearing to begin with, but I don't make the rules. Alright, so just keep it up here. It doesn't look like they're holy shots, unfortunately, or holy light, rather, to be less ambiguous. I sort of don't understand, and this is going back to an earlier topic of conversation. The answer to this might just be anxiety, and if that's the case, I don't want to appear ignorant. You know, I have my own brand of anxiety as well that I work through, but, you know, I guess it's different for everybody to some extent. I don't understand being anxious to see a movie in the theater by yourself. It is mildly uncommon, I think. But, like, watching a movie at home by yourself, not weird. Here's the analog that you might use. You might say, well, yeah, but it'd be weird to kind of like eating a meal at home by yourself is not that unusual, but going out to a restaurant to get a meal by yourself is a little unusual. Perhaps, but movies are different. If there's a movie I really want to see and it just came out, the only place to do so is at the theater. So, you know, it just came out. It's not like I can stay at home and watch it. And I know, NL, have you heard of DAE La Torrance? But, you know, I'm in the media business. It would feel weird for me to not support people making what appears to be good media. You know, there's no other option at that point if you want to see the movie yourself. It's been almost a decade, I guess, since I've done it. Well, maybe like 8 years. It's almost a decade in many ways. But going to the movie theater by yourself is really nice. I've told this story a couple times as well, but one time, well, this is actually the Bruno story. But my friends were like, hey, you want to go to the theater and see The Hangover? And this is not me being an intellectual. Oh, The Hangover. Quite a juvenile film. The thing is, I'd actually already seen it twice in theaters. So I was like, I'll go with you, but I'm not going to watch The Hangover. So I walked to the movie theater, and they were like, 4 tickets for The Hangover, please. And I was like, 1 ticket for Bruno. I hope the timeline on that matches up. I might have forgotten, but Betrayal has appeared in the basement. Down, please. Like, I don't think there's anything weird about going to the movie theater by yourself. Plus, once the lights dim, who cares? I'm just going to Emperor it up here. You know, nobody cares is the answer. Or they care less than you think. And anybody who cares that you're going to see a movie by yourself is being a big weirdo about it. Ooh, but what if they think I have no friends? What if you do have no friends? You still gotta see movies, dude. We're all human beings here. It's a necessary part of life. Okay, that might be a little too far, but... By the way, if you're worried about eating by yourself in a restaurant, don't be. Whenever I see someone eating by themselves in a restaurant, I think more highly of them because I think that they're like a business traveler. And I'm like, dude, not only is this man or woman, you know, flying around doing important business, that meal's probably getting paid for by their boss when they get back and fill out an expense report. And that's dope. So that's my advice to you. You feel weird about going to a restaurant alone? Nah, son. People are actually going to think more highly of you if you're eating alone than if you're eating with someone else. Just make sure that you be super weird about it and put on, like, the nicest suit you have. Then even if people think you're like a piece of garbage, or even if you are a piece of garbage, I mean to say, people will think you're a big shot. And to be honest with you, that's more important. Like I said, I'm a little idiosyncratic. I don't really care about getting the HP there. I mean, we could fill it up. We're gonna win this run anyway. This could be a perfect run to also kill Delirium on. Perfect might be a stretch, but it's a very good run to kill Delirium on. Thank you. There's some things I like to do alone, even though I'm married. I love grocery shopping alone, as weird as that might sound. Because I buy what I want and only what I want, and I'm the kind of guy who rushes through things. You know, many of you will probably relate to this. It's a bad habit. This is not something to be proud of. And I want to make that clear, because I think it is glamorized sometimes. I probably glamorized it when I was younger. I am still, to this day, the guy who, like, does well in school, but most of the marks I lose are from just, like, not reading the question fully. I read, like, 40% of the question and go, I know the answer. I write it down, and then, you know, I get the test back, and I lose a half mark on the question, and I'm like, oh, I just didn't do the last thing they asked for because I got over-eager. You know, I rush things a little bit. But at the grocery store, it works out fairly well for me. I can be in and out of the grocery store in, like, you know, less than 10 minutes, including lining up, paying, etc., etc. And there's a different dynamic, you know, when you go grocery shopping with someone else, you go grocery shopping with your spouse. You probably, in my case, probably get better stuff. Get a more well-balanced diet, for sure. Because when I go to the grocery store, I'm buying matter and energy, and Kate is buying meals, which is what it works better that way, I think. I'm just like, yeah, this is mathematically enough calories to get me through the next 6 days, and she's like, this would make a great chicken cacciatore. Don't get me wrong, I'm not admonishing my spouse there. In fact, I'm building her up, which is a smart thing to do. I don't really want the boomerang there. Oh, I thought we had you. But I love grocery shopping by myself because it's faster. Even if you end up getting less out of it, you know, you can enforce your own values on the situation. I'll take Black Lotus, even though it probably does not matter at all. It definitely does not matter at all, actually. Alright, so the real game plan here is... It would be sick, this is why I'm not using the strength card, if we could get the Delirium fight. The Void Floor, better way to describe it, perhaps. No, not yet. We'll do that at a future date. Kind of stinks, though. We got the unlock, but we're going to have to do the victory lap later. But we got the Curved Horn. Golden God has been achieved? I didn't expect that. I guess we filled up enough post-its? Like, the first 6 characters have all got their post-its relatively filled to rebirth levels. Either way, though, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, though, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.